problem is with New Year's resolutions is they think about it like once and then you don't look at it ever again, right? I'd love to have, washboard abs. It's like, okay, well, there's a lot of work that needs to go into that. When I asked that question, and these are up and coming young professionals, and I said, how many of you have written goals? It's always less than half the room. It's like 40-ish%, which is kind of astounding to me. Probably a good segue too, because we want to talk about goals today. And in the Glenn Bland method that we did, like I remember reading that for the first time. And like one of the things they talks about is spiritual goals. And it was always it was just interesting to me because I came from the background of church. But then when I started going into the business world and like spiritual goals, like that's really strange. And it was funny because I tell people all the time, like I look back at years that I wrote down goals for a year, and the years that I didn't were really rough years. It's just interesting. Like, why is that? I also know about myself that because I put it in different time horizons. So I usually write 1 year, 3-year goals, and then 10-year goals. And it's funny because most of my 1-year goals, almost all of them, I've never hit. I've never hit a 1-year goal, but I've almost always hit 3-year goals if they weren't just like, crazy pie in the sky type things. And but I think the more maturity I have, the more I can predict, forecast, and stuff like that. But it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can for whatever reason, I don't have a good gauge on what I can do in a year, and obviously I don't have a good gauge on what I can do in 3 years, but it's a little more accurate. So I don't know. But as I was reading back through different journals and looking at spiritual goals, one of the spiritual goals that I had written for myself, gosh, it's probably been 5 years or better now, was I want to be part of a church community that I feel comfortable and at home and stuff like that. And we talked a bit about this. I think last time I was in Helena, right, on that podcast. And it was really cool because I really feel like we've found that, or I've found that anyway, where it's like, man, it's a community that I like to be a part of. I'm excited to serve. I'm excited to go. I'm excited for my kids to be plugged in, and it's something that I feel like I can promote and be a part of. And so it's kind of cool because I think for the first time, it feels like I'm doing it. Like I'd written that goal for years and kind of like stepped my foot in, stepped out, in and out. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cool. So what about you? I mean,
That's
because
awesome,
you mentioned the Glenn Bland method, in passing. I think when the last time we were on together, I don't think it was recorded. But I didn't realize you used the Glenn Bland method yourself.
Yeah, I'm, I like his framework too. I think that's probably, it's kind of like what we just discussed, right? We have this, I have this idea of, you know, what coming to the church is. I have this idea of what my goal is to be. But then like when you start walking the path, it's, you start you start getting different ideas, and like and sometimes it's inspirations where you're kind of locked into it and you're like, oh yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then sometimes it's like it doesn't feel good in this, you know what I mean, like it doesn't feel good in the spirit. And yeah, when I started reading the Glenn Glenn Bland method, I you know I there's a simplicity in it. I like to say I'm kind of a simple kind of guy. I like things. I don't like things overcomplicated. And um, the thing that really grabbed me from that method was the spiritual aspect of it, and the meditation in the morning. Not that I didn't know that was a good thing to do. It just had a good framework to it, right? And I think that's what um, a lot of goals need is a good framework. Um, and and then I think once you walk into that framework, things, you start to discover, new ideas, or or inspirations that come to mind. So yeah, like yeah, I certainly like the morning meditation um, from that from the bland method too. And yeah, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I haven't really incorporated a whole lot of that, or I haven't done that part in a long time.
Mm,
I'll have to look at that. Yeah, because I took kind of some principles of the Glenn Bland method and then created my own framework around it. And I call it Fresh Goals, just because I like acronyms and I'm a nerd that way. So it stands for F, financial goals, right? R is recreation, E is education, S is social or spiritual, and then H is health, because I think that's one that um, a lot of times
nice.
people don't have that. And that was one I felt was lacking in the Glenn Bland method. It was either like you got to put health somewhere, you throw it in, whatever. So anyway, so I acronymized it and then pushed it out there. Um, I don't know if we've talked about this, but like this last year, I spoke three different times. Two of the times I was talking about goal setting, and it was doing more of a workshop for some up and coming business people. And I asked, how many of you have written goals, like actual written goals? And it seems like the time of year where people are like, oh yeah, New Year's resolutions. But I think the problem is with New Year's resolutions is they think about it like once and then you don't look at it ever again, right? You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I would love to do this. Like I'd love to have, washboard abs. It's like, okay, well, there's a lot of work that has to go into that. You know what I mean? Um, it's not just getting a gym membership. It's not going to do it for you. Um, but I think the interesting thing to me is when I asked that question, and these are up and coming young professionals, and I said, "How many of you have written goals?" And it's always less than half the room. It's like 40-ish% that say, "Oh yeah, I've written some goals down," which is kind of astounding to me because I started learning about writing goals. I don't know, 15, maybe 20 years ago. Like it's been a while that I've written
Mm,
goals down and had some targets that I was at least shooting for. And that doesn't mean that they're right all the time. Because like yeah, I think the other thing that is interesting is so I broke it into the like I said the long term and then 3 year and then 1 year, but then also putting together like the 90-day the actual personal growth plan part of it. Like what are
yeah.
you going to do if you have this financial goal? Let's say it's getting out of debt. Okay, well then how much needs to be going towards that? So then what is the milestone or the benchmark that's going to be hit by the end of March or by the end of January, right? Like what things are you doing to push that thing ahead? Um, and it's been fun because I've been writing this software for businesses, but one of the aspects that I put in there because I believe it so strongly is I created this fresh goals within the application itself under the user profile. So I've got the ability to just like write it myself, and I don't have to share it with anybody. But then it sends me reminders to say, hey, this is what you wrote down. How you doing on that? And then here's your milestones that are now personal milestones. Are you
Mm,
doing that? Like and just kind of that constant awareness and that constant reminder of like, here's the thing that you said you wanted to do. Are you doing it or are you not?
right.
So it's kind of like a personal life coach in your pocket, I guess. But
I like
yeah, I
that.
don't know. But what things have you learned from goal setting? Like, and did you grow up doing that? Were your parents big into goal setting or things like that, or were you just kind of a go with the flow guy until
I wish I could say that I was disciplined in goal setting. Honestly, man, I was really go with the flow, but there was some intentionality behind it. Like when we're talking about going with the flow, I um I was usually part of something, right? I think goal setting is for at least for my perspective, goal setting uh is that much more achievable when there's like this almost built-in accountability, right? That's why I function well within a team. Um, because I think for me, uh, the hardest, the most challenging thing for me when it comes to goal setting is holding myself accountable. Because I can justify in my mind why I don't want to work out today. I've turned 44 this year, 45 this coming year. Geez, Louise. Like uh and I've been consistently getting on my wife has a Peloton. I'm riding the Peloton with her. And the thing that I like about it is there is some sort of like, even though I don't know people on there, there's like this like, what are the like people that are on, and then you can race them, right? Like so like in my head, like there I'd like pick two or three people that are kind of in my bracket, and I'm like making sure that I'm ahead. And when I don't, I'm like, but I feel uh I feel there's a sense of motivation there, right?
Yeah,
There's like
right.
other goal. My goal, it's a simple goal, which is I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
beat
beat.
this guy, this guy, and this guy. And like, and it's funny because I also make like this extra challenge in my mind about like, okay, because sometimes it says on the side like their sex and their age.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like I kind of make it like there's a super hard boss, there's like a medium level boss, and then there's like and I don't mean anything, this is just for myself, but like a 60-year-old like male, and I'm like, if I don't beat this guy, man, what, like, unless this guy is trolling, and as he's not really, boy, and like I said, when it comes to goals, I just function better when there's something that's challenging me
Mm,
there. And I don't know if that's a pride thing, or what, but like I just need that challenge from
mm.
the outside. Not just my. It's hard to challenge myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I hear what you're saying.
you know what I mean?
Because I was gonna say that's not even like team. That's just competition, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
obviously, you
yes.
thrive on competition. So okay, like all right. Let's go with that because I'm really curious. Because like health, yeah, I love that. Like okay, I'm not gonna get beat by a 70-year-old woman. Like I'm gonna be better than that.
Right.
But how do you do that with other goals, like recreation goals, education goals? Like if I use Glenn Bland or the fresh framework that I use, financial goals. How do you do that without driving yourself crazy, right? Because there's the other thing of competition and then comparison, and it's really easy to I see I hear people talk about it all the time. Comparison's the thief of joy, and who are you leveling up against? Does
Yeah.
that does that kind of make sense? Because I could see
Yeah.
how it could be almost depressing. People are like, okay, well, like financially, like, okay, it's a competition, and so who are you competing with financially, or is it yourself? I don't know. But how do you do that? Like, where does your brain go with that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it goes back to like, you know like what you value, right? And how you go about valuing that, like, is finance a goal for me? Yeah, I think making sure that the family is good. For me, like, disclosure here, my wife makes a lot of money. Like, she makes more money than I do. She's got, she went into a field that is much more profitable. uh does that take a hit on me sometimes? Yeah, like, I think about it, um and I'm like, how do I do the thoughts of how do I make more money, and how do I help out a little more financially? Yeah, and I think that has like dipped into the comparison with my wife sometimes, and it gets like dysfunctional, um for me at least, like, in my own mind. My wife is my my wife is happy go lucky, man. She's just like, oh babe, I don't even care. Like, I'm like, but she also understands like the societal like pressure of it too, right? But my wife also, she like comes around and like tells me that there's no way our kids would be who they are if it wasn't for you. You know what I mean? There's definite strengths that I have that maybe my wife uh, needs that accountability piece on the other side too, right? So like, yeah, I think going back to like, what is it that you value, and then like how do those values like push you forward? How does it push you towards contentment? Like, You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Those things, without like what you're saying, without letting it uh, drive you crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Eat you up.
Yeah, eat you
Yeah,
up.
that's true. Yeah, I think for me, like really practically, like with financial goal setting, because I done that with a lot of people.
Hmm.
I think the big one for a lot of people, like Dave Ramsey, like people that are in debt, I'm like, yeah, Dave Ramsey it up, baby. Like, just get out of debt. As much as you can. Consumer debt's not good.
Yeah, and he's got a framework, which is good, which is why a lot of
Yes.
people like it. He's got a
Yeah.
really simple framework to use.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That's why he calls them baby steps.
baby steps.
So if you're listening to this and you don't know anything about Dave Ramsey, go Google him. There's plenty. But the idea is like, yeah, that you should get out of debt. Like that's the first one. And then the second one with those baby steps, obviously, is you need to start like saving for the future and putting that to good use. Cause I can't tell you how many people, I meet that they don't have any plan for the future. And it's like, man, like, like that's scary, especially our age. I mean, we're not the youngest out there, but we're not old. But they pretty much said, yeah, unless something major changes, that Social Security is going to be done in 2037. Like that's the latest number I heard. I'm like, okay, well, it's 12 years. We ain't retiring in 12 years, right? So just even knowing that, it's like, man, like just some really simple things that people could do. Like you need to start thinking ahead. So like the richest man in Babylon, where he talks about paying yourself, like that really simple concept of, yeah, pay yourself first. Like, figure those things out. So that's why I always tell people, like, if they don't have any financial understanding at all and they're in debt, Dave Ramsey, like go through financial peace, just get stuff figured out. So I would say that those become in my opinion, your first financial goals. As you grow in that and then you get past that, then it's okay, now what things, especially as I work with business guys, it's like, okay, what are the financial goals do we have? You have financial goals obviously within the company, but what are you going to do with those things? Because a lot of times people in business, they work, 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 and then they're like, why am I doing all this? It's like, well, you have to there's got to be like some financial rewards that you're giving yourself for this. I joke with people that the reward you get for running a company is not so you can stress about if you're going to make payroll at 2 a.m. Like that's not the reward. You've got to have something else outside of that. So one thing that I do is, and we set this up probably 5 years ago, is we basically created, okay, here's kind of our financial plan that we want to hit. So here's the amount of money that we want to save every year, put into retirement. Here's what we want those investments to do. And so all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of fun because every year we look at that and we say, are we on or off track with that plan?
Right.
And you know what I mean? And so that
Yep.
becomes like a really cool marker just to give people, it's not a competition with other people. It's the competition with yourself. Like, here's the thing that I want to do, and am I beating it or not? Right? Because I like that competitive drive thing as well.
Am I on
And
track?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
also, it's like, what are the rewards if you hit that? You know what I mean? Like I think that's the thing that people are missing a lot. It's like, man, celebrate somehow. I don't do that well, and I'll just admit that. Like I've got a lot of financial things this coming year with different business stuff, but it's like, okay, but what are the what are the rewards if I do that? Even if it's dumb, like new pair of shoes. Is it a watch? Like, what is the thing that you're going to reward yourself along the way? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the financial one. Because I think the other thing too is that, like if I ever compared myself financially with other people, um, I think part of it is that I hang out with people that are financially much bigger than I am. Does that make sense? Like they
Yeah. Yeah.
play the game of finance. They make a lot more money than I do. But like we had talked about, it must have been last podcast. You and I were together. Like stay in contentment. Like I said,
Right.
like I also know their life that they have to achieve that, and I don't
Sure.
want that life, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, making sure that you're staying in your own lane, and at the same time, don't be complacent, right? I
Yeah.
mean, don't get rest on your laurels. It's like, okay, what else can we do? Like, how do we move and keep moving forward? So
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to you and I. And I'm sure you said that you surround yourself with people that have that are financially well off. I think also, just kind of going back to what I was saying about, we can all still value our finances, but put words around it, right? Put
yeah,
put words around why you value your money, right? Like same thing. I value my family, right? Everybody says, "Oh, look, like I love my family and I value my family." Well, okay, well, what does that mean, right?
That's good. Yeah.
Right? It's the whole we surrounded ourselves with people that put words around like why they value things, right?
Yes.
Like now, when people say why do you, well, okay, your family, well, okay, well, I value my marriage with my wife, like that is like pinnacle to me, you know. And um and then obviously my kids are next, right? Like everything, there's a reason why I value family, and that's it, right? There's a reason why I value my faith, right? Because I want to make sure that this salvation that I have, I don't want to waste it. And so like, okay, like we'll just stay on that topic for a second. Like my faith, right? I don't want to waste like this life that I have, right? That this new life that I have. So when when I'm not doing something, right? There's this pull that I have to to not to make sure, I don't, because I don't want it to be about works, right? Because it really isn't. It's out of this, like, I don't know, it's out of this like abundance of love that and forgiveness and mercy that I've gotten from the Lord, which propels me forward, right? Which propels me to want to share my faith with people. But it does look like work, right? Right, faith without works is dead, right? So finding, making sure that I'm riding that line, walking that line well, and when I'm not, uh, that's when I start to say, uh, am I valuing my, is faith, or were you just all talk, or what's going on, right? Like, when I have a staff member that is struggling with life or whatever it is, right? With coworkers or kids, are you gonna continue to talk about worldly mumbo jumbo? I don't, I mean that in a good way. Are you gonna talk about worldly wisdom, or are you gonna talk about what helped you, what really
Mm.
helped,
Yeah.
right? And that's God. God came into my life. And how do I do that? I share with him the testimony, right? That the word of our testimony, right? So again, I'm going back to the values that we have, and what does it look like, and putting words to it and not just saying it, right? It goes back to just business stuff, right? Do you really, you have like plaques on the wall or posters on the wall that says integrity and justice, right? The FBI. And then you can kind of look, are they valuing, you know what I mean? Like, I think to some extent there's some people in it, but at least we have a reason why we say what we say. We strive to meet the values that we really have, right?
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Which is why, like, even in the like the fresh goals concept, I first start with like, what is your life stance? Like, what is your life about?
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
and thinking through like, what is living intentionally at this stage of my life
Mm,
mean to, like you said, like right now, yeah, we both have kids that we're raising. Like, we're not empty nesters. And so what our life looks like right now is very different than somebody that either doesn't have kids yet, or is single, or is an empty nester, right? And so it's, man, what does that mean to me right now at this stage of my life? And then I think the final one is, when I look back on my life, it's one of the questions I ask is like, when I look back on my life, what am I going to be most proud of? What am I most excited about?
mm.
That's right. I think for most people, it's not the diplomas, it's not the accolades and things like that. It's usually relationships, right? It's like, what are the relationships that we have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it on that list then. So if F is finance and then R is recreation, like
Mm.
what goals? Because I know we've talked a little bit. I think it was the last podcast you talked about going spring break, and you were just talking about going to the national championship game, like
Yeah.
the game coming up in Nashville. And everybody's like, "What game is that?" I know. Go
There
Bobcats.
you go. Go Bobcats. Yeah.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, so like, what? This coming year, what are some recreation goals? Obviously, that's a super cool one. Like, because I know your
Yeah.
family's obviously big into football, and then obviously Bobcat football specifically. So the fact that they're going to the national championship, they're looking good. Like,
Right. Yeah.
unfortunately, this podcast is going to come out the day after the game. After the game, we'll just speak that it was a great game, and Bobcats won it. You know,
Yeah. That's what obviously we're hoping. Yeah, and I think that, recreationally, when I booked this ticket, we were actually at a wrestling tournament, watching, you know, man, wrestling tournaments can be really long
they
and a lot of
long, dude.
sitting down. So, with the amazing, technology that we have, I was watching it from my phone, my wife and I, and uh when they won, like when actually not when they won, when I knew that they weren't gonna catch up, boy, I got on, man, because I was just like, I want to be, I want to see this, I want to be a part of this, because I was a part of it. And to a lot of degree, I still am a part of, you know, Montana State, and just the uh like the building of it, right? So because I mean, I got two knees that are really crappy, right, that don't feel very good right now. I got a neck that's not feeling very good, like, so I put the time in, you know what I mean? I had what's the word, I had skin in the game, so to speak. So so, like, yeah, I think, and my whole family, like you said, my whole family is uh are, big fans of MSU. My kids know about the history there that I have with them, and they've been raised to enjoy that, this football team, and this, Montana State and all that stuff. So yeah,
Indoctrinated.
I booked a ticket, right? And uh again, as I was booking the ticket, right, values started to come in about, like, oh wow, like financial values. You're just like, whoa, wow,
Expensive.
do
Yeah.
I really want to go there now? Like, but at the same time, my wife was just like, yeah, I think it'd be a great experience, and I think we should go. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we just got tickets to the game. That's all we got. We didn't get the plane tickets yet. We didn't get any of that stuff. So uh that I think some of that too, I like having those values in my life, because it helps you to have, like, some emergency breaks, right, when you're, uh because I was caught up in the, like, yes, we're in the national championship, we're like, I'm getting tickets, let's go. And just having to think of, like, how are we gonna pay, is this in our budget, can we do this? Um so yeah, I mean, obviously that's like a huge recreational goal for us, this, not goal, but um part of making sure that we also enjoy life too, right? We always go for spring break, like we're going to Belize for spring break this year.
It's awesome. I've
Yes,
always wanted to go to Belize. I'm excited to hear about it.
dude, you know um I'm excited too. It'll be a good time. I'm sure. We always have a great time, but also, as we're doing that recreation, I also think about family, which is another F, like, which is another value, right? Like, um my son, uh he's going to be 18 next year. He'll be a senior, and like, there'll be some changes in how we go about doing spring break. Hopefully not. Hopefully everything lines up, and we can all still go. But you know what I mean? Like, the run, the structured run of family vacations during spring break is it's coming to an end. You know what I mean? Like, it's just gonna be different. Um, so yeah, I also feel that, um yeah, just recreation is recreation, man. I'm kind of like, I go back to, I'm just kind of an easy guy. I kind of go with the flow when it comes to a lot of recreational stuff. Whether we're invited to a New Year's party tonight, and it's a themed party. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Like I'm like we're just gonna go. My wife and I we're just gonna go, because it's supposed to be some sort of TV show related thing, and like what do we? How do I have no. We had some ideas, but we don't have any like where are we gonna get all this stuff to
Yeah.
put it
Right.
together? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think some of that too is some of my goals, and yeah, that's what I got going on. Not really any goals, but just making sure that I enjoy life along the way, and it's gonna bring
Yeah. My
it's
cousin
part of
Kevin,
recreational.
he always, he was the one that really got me to kind of break out of that mold because it was easy for me just to work, and then use finances as an excuse to not live. You know, one of my favorite books on money is by Lynn Twist, and it's called The Soul of Money. And she was a uh, fundraiser for like she did development work in third world countries and stuff like that. But then she'd go and do these donor meetings with like the Vanderbilts, right? Totally different worlds. And so her whole thesis was, the soul, like money is there to spend, it's to save, and it's to do good work, right? It's to give. And um, so it doesn't matter what number you have in the bank, but if you're not spending it, you're not doing the things, you're not having the experiences, then what's the point? Like, is it just so you can be Scrooge McDuck and throw your coins in the air, or is it to actually like have those experiences and do stuff? So yeah, for us, I always every year, I always take the time. I'm going to be doing it. Tomorrow, I think, where I look back at my year and I just journal on the year. Where it's like, here's January. What did we do in January? Here's February. What did we do in February? What did I learn along the way? What experiences did we have? What did I enjoy? And then I talk to my kids about it and be like, okay, here's all the stuff we did. What did we like doing? What should we do more of? What should we do less of? Because then I think it puts the thing that Kevin always told me, my cousin, he said, always have something to look forward to. Like always have, the next thing to look forward to because it's another milestone out there. It's just like, okay, yeah, we're going to go this. And even if it's something as simple as, hey, we're going to go rock climbing or we're going to go skiing or whatever, right? It's just having something to look forward to. And then, because most of life is not that, right? Most of life is not fun experiences. Most of life is just baseline, right?
Right.
You're living,
Wake up,
you're going to work, you're
right?
dealing with kids,
Wake
you're
up.
going to school, right? Like all the
Yeah.
stuff, right? Like majority of life is baseline. And so making sure that you have those markers, right? Those recreational things, like what are some things that you want to do um, out there in front of you? Because yeah, I agree. It's not like I have major goals necessarily. That's not true. One of the things I've wanted to do for a long time, and I think this is the year to do it. I've got to do some financial markers myself to make it happen. Is to get my pilot's license. And so
Nice.
I've got for myself, I'm like, okay, it's not just getting the pilot's license, but it's expensive to keep flying, like to keep going and having the hours. So it's also I'm tying it to one of my financial goals in business and saying, okay, if we hit this marker by this, then I'll go just do it. I'll drop the cash to do it because I also know that I've got the cash flow to be able to pay for hours because you got to stay current all the time. It's not
Right.
like riding a bike.
No, it's not.
So
That's high risk, high reward type of stuff right there, huh?
yeah, yeah. Um, but that's a good one. So FRE is educational. What things are you wanting to learn this year, or are there things that are coming up for you? Well, that's also in the Glenn Bland method. But yeah, what things do you want to learn and be intentional about diving into this year?
Yeah, man. Oh, so much. There's so much. I think obviously I can learn. I think when you stop learning and stop wanting to, um, you know, expand your knowledge. I think that's when we kind of start to kind of wither a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, I think that uh, I, you know, if there's something that I like to think about when it comes to goal setting, I think it always starts for me like what do you want to be, like where who are you deciding to kind of to be, right? Because I think sometimes we can get lost in our identity. We can lose our identity in some of this stuff sometimes. um so so I think it's good to base my goals based on like what like who I aspire to, I guess, to be, right? Who um so again, man, like really simple simple stuff for me, man. Like I just want to continue to be a you know, a better husband, um and being content in that. I want to be a better dad. When it comes to being a better husband, I think um, learning to uh, maybe learning to anticipate like my wife a little bit better. What she's needing, how I can serve her better, um, and get out of my own way. Sometimes I think I think I certainly try to give her just being in the mental health field. Sometimes I try to get into that mental health like piece with her, when sometimes all I need to do is really just listen to her, and she'll actually just tell me everything that is bugging her. And so I think that too, maybe when it comes to my marriage, just listening a little bit better, and anticipating a little bit better what my wife's needs. And then with my two boys, because I want to be a better dad, right? Is um, learning how to learning how to communicate with them better,
Yeah.
and I think too, becoming a little more how I don't know how to put this. There's there's a lot of distractions for my boys, especially the cell phone. I really try to minimize um their attention they give to that, and more um within relationships, like real world relationships, whether it's my wife and I, whether it's with each other as brothers, whether it's making deep connections with friends, and having, those friends that you can certainly call, um and how to communicate that with my boys, that they can hear it, and not feel that it's a lecture or some sort of like, back in the days, because that's where I go, that's where it goes sometimes. And I sometimes I hit a wall with my kids when I go that route. So that and then like myself, um is certainly like getting better at truly investing in friendships. I don't think I've done that a lot. I think you and we have this that we do together, and then when we get together, we certainly
Yeah.
talk about a lot of this stuff,
It's always awesome.
right? Um, but like, you live in a whole nother state. I need to figure out how to, you know what I mean, or how to not just enjoy like the time when I'm spending with with people, because that's easy. I can just do that. I'm because, and I think some of that is because I'm just a kind of a go with the flow kind of guy, and we'll just chop it up right now. But like intentionally finding moments, finding time to spend with others, right? And deepening the relationship, whether it's going out to go get some coffee or whatever it is, right? um and just chopping it up and talking about life, instead of our work day, or whatever, or coaching or whatever it is, right? So I think just being a better, just improving my relationship, uh deepening. I don't know how to put that, like
No,
uh,
that's good, man. Anna just yesterday, it was some book she's reading, and some statistic about one of the markers of longevity is the quality of relationships that people have when they're 50. So by the time you're 50, what relationships you have, the quality of relationships you have, is actually a marker for like living to 80 and beyond without a bunch of health problems and human
yeah.
things, which kind of makes sense, right? Because God wired us to be social beings.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is actually a good segue because that's the next piece of my acronym is the S is social and
Social.
spiritual, right? Because I
Yeah.
think that they're connected. You
Yeah.
know, what communities, what's social. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean because it's the same way. Like I have, I think we were talking about this earlier. Like there's people that I've been. So I was on vacation 2 years ago. Yeah, actually, yeah, 2 years ago, with my cousin Kevin, and that's when I texted you. We were sailing and we were in Bora Bora, and I texted you. I'm like, hey, check this out. This is kind of cool. Um, and I just it wasn't just you. Like I was texting a lot of people in different places and stuff like that. And my cousin Kevin was like, "Man, you keep in touch with a lot of people." I was like, "Yeah, I keep in touch with them, but I'm not as intentional." So I agree. That's one of the things that I feel like I need to be better about. And having I think it was Ed Milet who talks about like he's got a list of 5 people. Like every morning he's just texting 5 people and encouraging them. And that was one of the things that I thought about back in October. I'm like, that needs to be one of my daily practices. Whereas just every day, like I'm sending a message. I don't know if it's 5, but maybe it's 1. It's kind of the same when I went on that run, and I needed to make a new friend every day. Right? It was just like I needed to have those reps. I think it's the same way. I just need to have those reps because I see a lot of people that are, in their 60s and 70s, and they're basically completely alone. Not because everybody died. It's just that they haven't been, like you're saying, like they're not intentional about like fostering relationship with people. And if that is not, it's kind of, I mean, it goes back to the choice, right? Like if you're not intentional about it, you don't have intentional action. The accidental outcome is that if you're not reaching out to people, people aren't reaching out to you.
Right.
And so, but I think more than anything, especially in the fray of busyness in life, is that it's just kind of an afterthought instead of it being like an intentional, like, hey, I'm just thinking about you today. Because as soon as I
Right.
get that, I've got a couple of people that do that to me, and every time I get a message from them, like, oh my gosh, yeah, let's talk, let's hang out.
Yeah. Right.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's definitely, it's definitely a little bit more of a challenge, you know, as you get older, because there's a lot of things you know. When I was a teenager, I would just call my buddy Will and Mike and be like, "Hey, let's go do something." Like whatever it is. And I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about my family.
right,
No, it yeah, but what was good is that it still set like a foundation of like this experiential friendship that you've had this long, right? This for a long time, right? Um and it's still like, I went back to San Diego a couple months ago, right? And it was just like we just it was almost like we just picked up. Like we just had
dude,
the
that's so
same
cool.
high school tendencies that we had. And like I think sometimes sometimes I miss that. I miss that part where there's this sense of I don't know whether it's comfort or familiarity, or this like uh this openness to be myself, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word because I am myself all the time. But all I can like pinpoint is that there's that comfortable shared experience uh, that that helps us to be vulnerable or whatever it is that in the moment when we do hang out, we can just be ourselves. We can let loose. We can clown on each other if we want to. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's those are some of the things that I miss a lot, and I don't know if and at this point in my life, I don't know if I don't know if that's what I'm asking if that's what I'm actually looking for. I just I miss those I miss them those experiences. I don't know if I actually want to. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's what I want. I don't know if I'm making. I don't know. That's kind of a
Dude, I think I know what you're saying because last summer we were in Montana, and randomly, um, some friends that I went to like junior high and high school with, they don't live there either. They live in Wisconsin. One of my friends lives in Bali. Another friend lives in North Carolina. They happened to all just show up to Helena at the same time. We went to dinner, just
Nice.
randomly, right? And it was,
Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Where it takes, that quote, it takes a long time to make old friends, right? It's just like it takes a long time. But you and I also, we don't live in the town that we grew up in. Like
Right.
I think about that all the time because I do have friends also that it's no shade to Helena, but they've never left Helena.
Right. Sure.
Right. And they don't have other experiences. And you're kind of different because you didn't grow up in Helena, right? You grew up in, Philippines and then Guam and San Diego and now Helena.
Right.
Um, and so and I wonder sometimes, I think honestly with my boys more than anything, because I'm like, man, where and how do you put down roots? You
Right.
know? Because I don't think I've done that very well. I've bounced around a lot. I travel a lot anyway. It gives me a different view because I have a lot of friends in a lot of places, right? Like, I was, joking about, I was in Florida and I hung out with two people that I've never lived in Florida. That was the first time I've ever actually set foot in Florida outside of an airport, was this last trip. So, um, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
because it's one thing we can just, you know, let your guard down. Like I guess it's maybe just, you're just not as guarded. Um, and it's just like, okay, yeah, people know me. They know the goofball me from when I was 15 and we didn't have all this other like pretentiousness of adulting. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Right. Well, I
I know what
mean,
you
and
mean,
that's kind of
but
that's what I kind of feel
yeah,
I have with you too, right?
yeah,
Like
me too.
we could just talk about and chop it up about anything really, and that's kind of like the birth of this podcast. Like it's just we've um we're cool with being vulnerable, but then like sharing it with. Isn't that crazy? Like,
It's
wow,
crazy.
dude. Like,
Yeah,
um,
all five people that listen to it or
right.
whatever. But
I agree, man. But yeah, going back to the whole like spiritual and recreational, and man, also too, um, spiritually, as a full disclosure, man, I have totally like lapsed on any spiritual, seeking first the kingdom, man. Like the last couple days, uh, yeah, I've been waking up with some like major pain and just dealing with that. The last couple days have been really tough, and um, I know the answer, and this kind of goes back to the original part of our discussion, um, is having that accountability part, like because I can justify, I could justify a way why I don't want to wake up early and meditate and seek the kingdom first. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just a battle right there for me. And it's been like that for the last, not even, like, I would say even, you know, last month, it's been really inconsistent when it comes to that. And I've really noticed that when I'm not doing that, um, how I'm outside of the framework, right? I'm outside of my boundaries, for life and for the values that I hold. And it just doesn't, I don't know, um, the, what takes what takes, um, that space sometimes can be really, uh, it can be really like a drag, man. Be honest with you. Yeah. I don't know if what I just said made sense.
oh, dude,
Um,
yeah,
but
100%.
hopefully it's communicated with my my nonverbals.
I suck at that too. Honestly, like it's, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it is just like spiritual warfare, and it's like it's an actual like it just is not the first thing that comes to my mind in most situations, which is weird. And maybe it's that because I know that maybe it's intellect. I don't know. Like I don't know what it is, but I know it's not the first. It's not my go-to. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good.
I wish it
Yeah,
was. I mean, that's certainly a spiritual goal for me, man.
yeah.
I just finished reading the Bible, from cover to cover, last week.
Nice.
Um, yeah. And so, and then like, there's that too, right? You're okay. Now what? Like I've read it all. But like, you know, of course I've got another plan and I'm going to go through it again. I think that's just going to be a continuous, like for the rest of my life, I'm going to, continue to read the word and have devotionals and spend time. I think for me is to be more consistent with it, and um and to really rely on my relationship with God to continuously choose choose him over my flesh daily, whether it's again justifying, why I don't want to get up and do what I need to do. That will be the most beneficial for my day. That's what pisses me off, man, is that I know it's the most beneficial thing that I could do, and I don't do it. Right? I feel like Paul right now, man. I do the thing that I don't want to do, right? Uh, even though I know what I need to do, like what a wretched man I am, right? I feel like that a lot sometimes, and I also feel like, we're talking about faith right now, man. Like, I also feel like Elijah sometimes, where you can call down fire from the heavens, and 1 minute, and then the next minute, like, you're running, right? I think it described him as someone with like light passions, and I feel that I'm that way a lot of times, and I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I don't want to be either. I think that the challenge that I think back, I guess for me is like a lot of that rationalization, or a lot of times people would be like, oh, like people would probably, it's growing up in the church, and people would say things like, oh, well, did you pray about it? It's like, bro, I know you're just doing drugs last night, so I don't want to hear from you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's also like convicting, because it's like, yeah, you're right. Like that should be, or maybe not should. That's the desire that I actually do have. It's like, okay, I do want to hear, okay, Jesus, what should I be doing in this situation? Like what is the wisdom that you have here? Because it's bigger, better than mine. So, um, yeah, no, that's good, man. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I'm a new creation, Lord, but man, like,
Yeah. But I'm also a mess. So,
right? And I think, man, and like here, like just the Holy Spirit moment right there. Like, it really does. Um, when we do talk this stuff out, right? It really does reveal like the frailty of the human condition, man, and
man,
how we really need how I really need him, because like, um we are a mess. We are a mess. Like, and I'm not, I don't, I'm not ashamed to say that. Like, we all have I have a lot of stuff that I know I need to work on, and that can be overwhelming sometimes, just saying that I have a lot of things I got to work on. So, so if I don't start with, if I don't start with the Lord, man, and him, uh and the one who saved me, um from this, right? Going back to what a wretched man I am. Who, right? It's who. It's not a what. It's not a framework. It's not any of that. It's who, and it's the Lord Jesus Christ, man. And that's I want that to be, and F for me is faith, right? That's like the top of the list for me, because if that doesn't work, if that's not, if I'm not, um if I'm not attached to the vine, if I don't feel that I'm attached to the vine, man, like, yeah, I'm just withering, and it affects everything else. that I aspire to I don't want to say to be better. I want to say uh uh like I want to improve. I don't know if that's a right if that sounds like a better way of saying it. Like I don't want to settle. Because I don't want to discredit all the things that I've grown from. Right. I also I also want to make sure that that I give glory to all those things to God for all those things as well, and not forget how far I've come. But I certainly just want to get better, and I hope a lot of people, you know, the people that listen to this, I hope you hear our hearts when it comes to, you know, we're just, you know, like two two men who are also just struggling through life, and it always doesn't look, it doesn't always look, you know, put together and you know, uh prepackaged in a PDF for um that's why I enjoyed you and JC's conversation, because you guys kind of dipped into those moments of of just like helping people uh to find the best version of themselves, right? That was a lot of the talk, but also um that it's not going to look perfect. It's going to look different for a lot of people, but if we can, if for at least for, and I'm speaking for myself, if I can um have a an honest um you know, reflection, um like just a account of myself, I think that's a good place to start. And and I think the fact that we just talked about is that we're just, you know, we are broken. We have, there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Yeah, that's I think that's a good way to move forward.
Yeah. No,
And
yeah,
you
because
don't
I
got
think,
all the
like you
answers.
said, like the full circle thing of uh, who you're becoming, not being complacent, and I think that's the purpose of me personally. I think that's the purpose of goals. Like it's the like, what are the things that we're not going to be complacent in that we're going to push forward, which is why I like you and you were talking about that. Like that is for me, that was probably the most convicting piece. Was like, yeah, spiritually, I do really want to live prayer first. You know, like, all right, God, what's give me your mind on this, because you know I'm only so good. And even that, like, even if that just pushes me a little bit better, kind of like your 60-year-old dude on the Peloton, right? It's just like that thing that just pushes you a little bit further, and make the choice to just get a little bit better, like you said. Honestly, I think that's I think that's the goal. You're just a little bit better.